Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel English Speaking Asia, where I talk about different topics related to English speaking Asians all over the world, plus also about things that are related to you if you're from a Western culture and you're trying to understand why do Asians do what they do. Okay, now one of the big stereotypes about Asians is that we're very traditionally minded. And we're focused upon our own culture, that we don't easily adapt to the Western style of living. So why is it that people tend to think that, Asians are not adaptable? Well, you have to look at it this way. In countries such as America, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia, for example, it's a very, very young country whereby the current history expands perhaps like a couple of hundred years ago, when Great Britain colonized all of these different countries, and America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand started their English Western speaking culture, even though in Australia, for example, we've had Aborigines which have been there for thousands of years. And in America, for example, the Native Americans have been there for thousands of years before Britain came along, colonized it, and made it into a Western English speaking country. So because those countries are very young, they highly believe in being individual, to have the right to your pursuit of freedom, happiness, to think what you want, say what you want. And that's the reason why they're considered very young countries. Now, if you look at, for example, Great Britain, which has a history that expands thousands and thousands of years, you could say that, for example, they're very traditional and focus upon their own culture because their culture expands thousands of years. Now, if you look at an Asian country like Vietnam, China, Japan, Korea, Indonesia, the Philippines, for example, those are cultures which also expand thousands and thousands of years, and over thousands and thousands of years their societies have developed their own set of values, their own way of thinking, and their own religion, their own philosophies. So what tends to happen is when you have someone, for example, who is born in an Asian country and moves to a Western English-speaking country, they bring with them their traditional beliefs. So for that reason, when you meet, for example, like a Japanese person in Australia who was born in Japan but now lives in Australia, a Korean person born in Korea that's now living in, say, for example, Canada, or a Vietnamese person who's born in Vietnam now living in America, okay? You can take them out of the country, but you can't take them out of the mindset. So if, for example, you were to meet a younger Asian person whereby they were born in that English-speaking country and they went to school with like Caucasian English speakers, they tend to be a little bit more open-minded but still mindful of their own traditional culture. So it's kind of wrong to say that, all Asians when they move to a Western country are very traditional in their way of thinking, because they only think that way because of the fact that they come from a country whose culture expands over a couple of thousand of years. So be very mindful of that. And it's fun making friends and having relationships with Asian people.